Check, this is John's mic because he sings karaoke.
Right?
We covered a lot of ground since you've been in office updating. A lot of that was antiquated. A lot of the subdivisions that hadn't been for years.
You know, I left Erica a message for the thing on Friday. He got no callback. I did.
You got nothing?
Just, you know, in what we,
Good evening.
the whole thing is you're supposed to be keeping up on things. You can't look at every home every year. But, you know, when I'm pulling out files of 40 or 50 years, black and white pictures, you know, the 60s and 70s. And I'm still catching up on that. I mean, but it's, you know, then that's just one part of it.
You know,
Yeah, gets a
No,
little,
it's a question about the pop machine.
I don't know, some job security.
Do we have those? I
that's where it should go, right?
don't know what our contract will be like.
Anyway, wow, this is crazy.
On everything. I gotta sit next to John.
Come on. We'll have a good time.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You guys doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do these one
You're going?
She isn't.
That's all right.
This neuropathy in my
No.
We're not there yet, but we need to get some.
We're not.
Never sure.
Well, it's not that. Well, I'm sure it's actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sent me to
No, but they give you.
physical therapy.
They give you a nerve block.
Give me a couple of painkillers that don't do
We got 3 minutes more. Wherever our internet. Or the clock is.
that CBD oil.
Does that help?
Yeah, yeah. So
I want this explanation again.
You need that.
Tonight?
He understands.
yes, there's other options, right?
It's not a single building.
Like sitting here, it's just
Even though this is only once an hour, it's still going to be.
Okay. The new box we call it, really,
Right.
that's a further one now. That one's a little close, but it still has all the shelves.
I'm going to go over dimensions.
Well, you would, I can put them on there. This is just on the
Those are fun, and these are, I mean, yeah.
that's fine.
I've had several, I had 2 staff members out for COVID. Well, that was
This is.
Ball fields are here, right?
before Omicron.
That's
Pardon, before Omicron. No, you know, so December was Omicron. Yeah.
packet.
And then they
That's
changed
down,
it.
that's.
This is
Last round,
I'm looking. So
yeah, it's still, it's like, I just keep waiting for it.
there's 2 boxes.
Yeah, sometime to, yeah.
This is the dimensions.
My hypothesis, speaking as a biologist, is that the best case scenario,
Over
get
here.
Yep.
a version
That's all wetland.
that is not terribly deadly, but is extraordinarily
Right.
manageable, and maybe Omicron is.
Correct. What are we going to do else there?
Well, it's all trees and
That
stuff.
Grass.
it pushes out all the other varieties, because communication.
Well, maybe way back here, but up
is
here.
what-
Oh, yeah, yeah, from here.
Yeah, I mean, the more communicative the version,
Now, the only thing here is this is separate.
the more of it dominates the others, the others out. So, and then it becomes like.
Okay, we'll do it here, sure.
And it can be endemic, but it isn't anything.
Yeah, and then
That's wash basin.
Water.
Shot every year.
Perfect. Well, I don't probably not either.
They what?
We don't have any problem now, right?
No, they can tell me I can get a fourth shot now. I can get it. Just line me up.
By the way, I'm not wearing glasses because I
I know.
got cataract surgery.
Ah, how did that work? Like for the one eye, you still got a problem?
I do have a quick question.
It's some issues I've had.
Road here, and I think there's a little
Glare
here or
is
something.
worse than what.
Is there another one here? I think there's gates on these,
Yes.
right?
Very advanced.
There's a white van.
Yeah, that's the,
Before it was kind of by.
Why do they park it behind the gate on the path?
It's like
when it's gonna snow, so it's
streams off
not in the middle of the parking lot.
I knew there was an explanation.
we're around lights.
Yep, we're ready?
Well, that's fun. Pretty much.
Okay, it is 7 p.m. I'd like to call the January 13th, 2022 Mchenry Township meeting to order. Start with pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay, would the clerk please call the roll?
Okay, Supervisor Barla,
Yes.
Trustees Yeager,
Yes.
Macredo,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Bindenegger,
Yes,
did I pronounce that right?
Bindenegel. You're close. Bindenegel.
Okay.
Just as it's spelled.
It's, oh wait, you told me, never mind. There is no public comment tonight. I didn't see anybody signed up. Okay, first thing on the agenda is, need a motion to approve the December 9th, 2021 meeting minutes from the regular township board meeting. We need to discuss, if you do.
I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the minutes of December 9th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion on the meeting minutes from the regular meeting? Having none, take a roll call vote. I'll vote yes.
Yes.
Trustee Yeager,
Yes.
trustee Macredo,
Yes.
trustee Scheffler,
Yes.
trustee Bindenegel.
Yes.
I know the emphasis is probably in the wrong spot, but we'll figure it out. So the motion carries. So the next item on the list is the review of the executive meeting minutes from the December 9th, 2022 meeting. Need a motion and to discuss and
I'll
take
make a
possible.
motion to approve and take possible action on the executive meeting minutes of December 9th, 2022. 2021. It says 2022 under it's 2021.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
The only discussion I have, I think I have already know the answer to this, is the Hamlin thing is gone, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Hamlin bill.
Correct. I guess maybe a motion to approve or
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 9th,
guess that's repetitive.
2021.
You already did.
Correct.
Yeah.
We have a first and a second, we just need a vote.
Okay, roll call vote. I'm going to abstain. Trustee Yeager,
Yes.
Yes.
trustee Macredo, yes. Trustee Scheffler,
Yes.
trustee Bindenegel.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4 tonight is for the approval of receipts and bills for the town fund. Who's got the town fund tonight?
Neil.
Neil?
out of order here, apologize. We, the undersigned members of McHenry Township Board of Trustees, certify we have this 13th day of January 2022 examined and audited the amounts due for the items specified and the claims attached, hereby authorize payments of the same. Total reimbursements to be approved, $0, Total bills to be approved, $13,339.43. Total bills paid prior to audit, $44,112.05. Total to be approved, $57,451.48. Total receipts are $11,969.04. I make a motion to accept the receipt and pay the bills for the town fund.
Second.
Second from trustee Yeager. Okay, since we're spending money, a roll call vote. I vote yes. Trustee Yeager?
Yes.
Trustee McCredo?
Yes.
Trustee Shepler?
Yes.
And trustee Benenagel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 5 is motion or approval of receipts and bills for the general road and bridge fund.
We, the undersigned members of the McHenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have on this 13th day of January 2022 examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorize payments of same. Total reimbursements to be approved, 0. Total bills to be approved, $39,836.30. Total bills paid prior to audit, $28,975.04. Total to be approved, $68,811.34. Total receipts, $46,348.82.
Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Yep. Okay, a roll call vote. Supervisor Barlow votes yes. Trustee Yeager?
Yes.
Trustee McCredo?
Yes.
Trustee Shepler?
Yes.
Trustee Benenagel?
Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the receipts and bills for the permanent hard road fund.
I make the motion. Do I have to read it?
Yeah.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 13th day of January 2022 examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorize payment of same. Total reimbursements to be approved, 0. Total bills to be approved, $7,669.73. Total bills paid prior to audit, $21,754.63. Total to be approved, $29,424.36. Total receipts, $905,306.81.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mark? Any discussion? Any questions on that?
The question I have,
Yep.
and it's not, Debbie explained it to me. We talked about it for an hour. So it's me that doesn't understand it, not Debbie's explanation. I just don't understand how it could be a negative 30.4% operating profit.
Okay. I'm going to take the first whack at it, and then I'll let Debbie fill the blanks in. As we know, we're a government agency. We don't make money. We don't make profit on our money that we get from the taxpayers. The only way that there would be income derived from our money would be when it's in the savings account until we spend it. So that number right there, it's the operating profit is what the report calls it. Essentially what he's done is he's overspent his budget, and to balance that out, we'll have to come back and take it out of reserves to balance those dollars out at the end of the year to balance his budget.
Okay, now is that something the trustees do? Or did he automatically take the money out of his reserves to
No,
plug
that
that
would
hole?
happen, that would have to happen separately at the end of the year. And the other thing, that number will change as money comes in and money goes out.
Okay, but if it
And so we're
doesn't,
still in that process, that wouldn't happen until the end of year when there is.
end of March or whatever, so is that again, if it's a negative number, is it the board that takes the money from reserves and moves it there, or does he do?
Correct.
No, we would have to approve that transfer.
Okay.
Yes, the board would have to approve that transaction.
Good enough for me.
Okay. Any additional discussion on that? Okay, we're spending money, so I'll take a vote. I'll start with trustee Yeager,
Yes.
trustee McCredo,
Yes.
trustee Bendenagle,
Yes.
trustee Shepler,
Yes.
and Bartlett is a yes. Motion carries. There are no fund transfers, so I guess that would be at the end of the year, when it comes time, that's where we'll have a fund transfer.
Correct.
So number 8 on the agenda is new business, and there isn't any new business. Moving on to number 9, 9.1. Again, to review all rental agreements and rates for facilities, shelters, community center, recreation center, discussion and then possible action. I'd like to make that motion. Can I get a second for that?
Second.
Okay. Being involved in other things in the community and watching, I know we've been sitting on this one for several months. I think what we need to do is continue to study this and make our final decision on the March meeting to implement for April 1st. Right now, just so everybody, I think we're all aware, costs are going up, so that's all I'll put out there. I guess my motion will be to table it till the March meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? What is it, the official tag? The yeas have it?
Yes, ayes and nays.
Okay, 9.2 is review of the final comment agreement. Make a motion to discuss and take possible action. I'll make that one.
I'll second the motion to discuss it.
Okay, any discussion?
Like I said at the previous meeting, my opinion is it's the land of our constituents. We should let them vote on it in the April meeting.
Okay.
We're not in a rush here to get that approved.
I will.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I reached out to the gentleman from ComEd. I apologize, I did not have his name in front of me. We spoke about the project. It's part of a greater project that's continuing to support the Route 31 corridor and continuing to light that all the way up into Ringwood. So that's why they're asking us for, there's never, quote, been an official agreement there. So looking at the project myself, the poles are on the other side of the street that would get replaced in the project. They are not moving them to our side of the street. We have one pole that feeds the power that comes to our property. And the other pole you see out there is our entrance light that hangs over the entrance. So I would support John in bringing it to the April electors meeting, and so they are aware of that easement being made.
That brings back the question, if all the poles are on the other side of the street, why do they need our property?
Because of the one pole that they have in and in case something changes in the future, they wouldn't have to.
That's just my question.
They wouldn't have to technically come back every time.
The pole's already there, so. But again, that's just my.
I think it's part of formalizing all the agreements, dotting their i's and crossing their t's also.
It's just a question.
Yeah.
I think it's for the people, constituents to decide.
Yeah. So we'll bring that to the April electors meeting.
So we're gonna leave it up to the electors.
Yeah.
Correct.
So as far as the possible action, no action this evening. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? The ayes have it. 9.4, to discuss how we're going to proceed with.
You missed.
Oh, did I miss 9.3? Yeah.
9.3.
I'm sorry, I had my line in the wrong spot. To discuss and approve permanent replacement for the temporary tent at the Food Fish Pantry. Discussion and possible action. my motion is also to include removal from old business at this time until they come back. I have a second on that.
A second.
All those in favor, or there's a question? Sure.
Yeah, could I ask, I'd like to ask a question about it. I'm not in any way opposed to it, but my question is, if they're building a permanent structure there, who will the structure actually belong to? Will it be the township? Will still have, because they're owning land, are they going to own the structure, or will the pantry?
No, the township will own the structure.
Okay.
Essentially, they're leasing back that structure. So all of the monies that it's going to take to build that structure, they are gathering or getting donations to do that, both material and labor. So
Right, so when they're done, it'll actually be an asset of the township.
yes,
So they get to build it and then they get to lease it.
you are
Not a good
correct.
deal for them, it seems like, but okay.
True that.
So I guess I'll take a vote on removing this until it comes back. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? So it will come off. 9.4 is to discuss how we're going to proceed with digital recordings of the minutes, discussion and possible action. I'll make a motion that we discuss digital recordings of meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
If I remember correctly, our attorney told us we could record them if we wanted to. We don't have to legally, if I understand that correctly.
Correct. The legal, how do I phrase this? The legal recording of this meeting is written meeting minutes. The recordings are not the legal history of this meeting. So that's the difference between the two. So we have to make sure that the written meeting minutes withstand the rules of meeting minutes from the standpoint, if you walk up and pick them up 10 years from now, you should be able to get the gist of what happened in that meeting. So reliance back to audio is not, I'm not for that. That's not recommended. It's the written meeting minutes is what is required.
So I guess what we're saying is we have to make sure the written minutes are extremely accurate. And
Correct.
nothing's left out.
Correct.
As long as the minutes are accurately stated and worded, I don't have a problem with that.
Yep. Okay, so the action is, the possible action, if there's is there any further discussion regarding that?
Just, yeah, that the details reflect an accurate, recording of the meetings. I think you pretty well summarized that.
Yeah, it's,
And John
Yeah.
followed up to it. We want to make sure that it's an accurate reflection of what was actually discussed.
so in regards to what is written here, the digital recordings of the meeting minutes, I guess the possible action that would be taken would be, they are not considered part of the legal meeting minutes of these proceedings in both the town, in the meetings and in the executive sessions. It's the reading minutes, or the written minutes that are the legal record. That's
I
my
make a motion that we don't record them at this time.
And I was going to say,
Until it's required by law, of course.
if we have an issue, like when we discuss executive meeting minutes like we did this evening, then we can address that at that time until we can choose
So-
not to approve
we
those
choose the minutes.
if we don't feel those are an accurate reflection.
Correct, and we can clarify this in the next time we go in and talk about meeting minutes and executive level.
Right.
I believe that our attorney told us that you legally have to record those meeting minutes, or those meetings, but they are not a legal record of that meeting. The written meeting minutes are the legal record
Right.
for that.
It's the only difference,
That's
correct.
the difference. Okay. So, the action from tonight is that
We take no action.
we take no action here. We leave it as is. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, 9.5, discussion regarding advisory committees meeting schedules for communication, parks, finance, discussion, and possible action. I'll make a motion that we discuss this. If I can get a second.
Second.
Okay. A very ambitious thing that I'd like to take on as I get into this more and more, in light of getting up to speed. I think this is something for the future, as far as formalizing committees and things of that nature. Now, that doesn't mean if an individual board member wants to pursue something that they can't do that on their own. So, and bring it to the board for discussion and action at some other time. So, I think that we need a little more time as a board and especially as a supervisor before we start implementing it. But it's going to remain an item that I want to do before I leave. So, the possible action for this evening would be to remove this from old business and bring it back when it's appropriate.
As you know, I've already formed a committee.
Okay?
Yeah, I've only had one meeting, it was with one person, because I didn't want to get worried about making notes and all that other stuff.
Okay.
The big mumbo jumbo of it all. I believe this board is in favor of looking at and approving an area of the park for, vegetable garden, whatever you want to call it. Not necessarily a rose garden, but
Community garden.
community garden, there you go, that's the word I was looking for.
Rose.
No, exactly. I mean, I talked to Pam over at the food pantry.
Yeah.
They're so busy over there, they don't have time to get involved.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
I talked to Lita from Nunda Township. They do run a garden down there, but the township's not involved. It's a group called the Master Gardeners.
So the township gives them space
Correct.
and then the organization
Yeah,
runs it.
this group called Master Gardeners. I'm waiting for them to get back to me.
Okay.
Right? But at this time, I'd like the board to give me approval to go ahead and move forward with planting a garden out there.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, we can talk about the area and everything.
Let's stick to the topic.
Correct.
Discussion regarding advisory committee. There are no advisory committees. This is trustee John McCredo on his own.
I'm okay with
Wanting to
that.
move forward with investigating a garden on township property.
Well, not only do I want to move forward investigating, I want board approval to continue talking with Home Depot and Harms Farm as far as in applying for grants to help us with this program is what I'm looking for. I mean, I don't want to start spending all this time and the board says, no, we don't want to do it.
What? I think from a general discussion topics that I believe that you have interest from all the board members, and I'm not going to speak for them. I'm interested.
I'm interested.
So is it something I can move forward with?
Sure.
All right. We have one motion by Gary to remove this from old business.
Correct. From
I
a,
understand.
I'm removing it from implementing a formal committee. We have a board member who is investigating on his own. It's not a quote recognized committee.
Correct, at this point,
Correct,
exactly, it's
at
not a
this time.
committee, right. I'm just looking for board's approval to move forward with the project.
So
If
we
it's
have-
something we can't do now, you tell me, Dan. I mean, if we need to put it on the agenda for next meeting, that's what we do.
That would be the way
Put
to
it
do
on the
it.
agenda for.
So new business would be,
Yes,
okay.
as a
So I
proposed
suspect-
agenda item for the next meeting.
Correct.
All right, we need a second on the motion to remove this from.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of removing the committee?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No nays, motion. The whole idea is looking at what legally has to be done, what I think we all need to learn. Trying to bite that off right now, that piece of the elephant, would be pretty tough.
Correct.
So, we'll keep it on there, and that's something that I want to try to accomplish before we leave.
The other thing I'd like to put on the agenda, and I know Gary wants to put some of this off, is we need to look at, like, our parks, no pets are allowed, no alcohol. I think in today's world, we need to, particularly dogs. again, personal opinion, I think we need to look at that.
I miss
But allowing people to bring their dogs to the park with their family.
as long as they clean up everything.
Well, that's, I totally get that.
Should be going.
I don't want to
say,
right? I
but.
just,
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't want to hold with that.
So you can put up, see, here, you can put up as many signs as you want. Nobody here to police it.
Well, then we should take down the sign that says no pets allowed. So,
I don't disagree. I mean, in reality, we don't have a police force to come in here and tell somebody to take their dog out of the park. We would literally have to call the police and ask them to come remove this person.
I agree with you, Gary, so why,
Yeah.
why take the time to be painting the sign every other year?
Yeah. Now, I'll counter that with
Listen,
the employees that work on the parks have to pick up the dog poop.
well, I think any responsible pet owner walks around with a plastic bag in their hand.
So what we would what we should do is put up a sign that says, please pick up after your dog and provide the bags for them to use to pick up the,
Like a dog park.
like a,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have about that, that's, yeah.
Well, see, that's.
That's why we're discussing it.
Yeah, so this in turn turns into a dog park.
Not necessarily, but it could.
More family
No, you
friendly
gotta be
dog
careful.
Yeah, more
park.
friendly, right.
Because there's a lot of people who, their family or their kids are their animals,
Yeah.
so.
So my recommendation is,
Family.
before we do anything, is let's get the rules and regulations we have in place today, review them, and make a decision on what we think the park should have in regards to township people's animals when they're here.
I can agree with that, put that on next month's
Yeah,
agenda.
that's an open item, yeah.
Exactly, what are we doing now?
We're going to review the current policies and procedures regarding park usage as it relates to pets.
And then the last one I have on there is, if you go through a brochure, it says no alcohol.
You don't want any alcohol in the rentals at all?
No, that's what it says. That's, if I go to our parks, I got it here somewhere, our brochure, it says no alcohol.
Okay,
And that's what I'm questioning. Because I know there's been many times we've had groups out there with alcohol.
now,
So I put it on the brochure for now.
I don't know this to be fact, but if I read through, can they buy a permit to have alcohol in the parks?
Well, that's what we should say then.
Correct.
Right. That's all I'm suggesting.
So another item would be review flyers for the parks.
Review what?
Flyers and brochures.
I do that.
Okay.
The other thing I noticed going through the website is that we don't take any credit cards here. And I'm curious as to why we don't.
There's always a fee associated.
Well, I mean, you charge your fees back if you have to, but I mean, because that's allowed in today's world.
Illinois State Police will debate you on that one.
I just recently put a sign on my door. Anything worth $25.
You can.
Well, why couldn't we do it here?
We could increase our fees to, it would cover, we'd have to go through our fee structure and say if you pay with a credit, you'd have a cash price and a credit card
Well,
price.
you could say if it's gonna cost you a certain percentage if you use a credit card. It's
I
legal.
don't think you can legally do that.
It's legal now, Dan.
Well, we had, when I was working.
Ask
in
our
the dealer-
attorney.
Yeah.
Ask our attorney. I was told it's legal. I have a sign on my door that says if you use your credit card, I can charge you now.
Wow.
There are a lot of places that will put even online, municipalities, if you go to pay for permits, will say it's a 2.5% convenience fee
Well, right,
on
exactly.
top of the cost of the
So
permit.
who has it, who did it? I just used.
I agree, that's what I was,
I
That's what I'm saying.
work with a lot of
yeah, I mean,
municipalities.
why not take credit cards?
No, okay, so here's the one that I used. The online payment for registration of a golf cart in Johnsburg, when you go on and register, when you put your credit card information in, they use a third-party credit card company. And I will have to investigate it. So I got hit with two charges, one for the golf cart fee and the other one for the fee to pay them.
I understand all of that.
So also, and we'll have to ask, and this has nothing to do with, it does, but, so Illinois State Police is now gonna have to refund all their credit card fees because the way the law was passed is that a FOID card would cost you $10 and then they charged you a fee on top of that, so it was outside of the ordinance. So we need to be, all I'm saying is we need to be careful when we move forward through this.
And
so
I
we
totally agree. I'm
understand.
just asking the question,
Yeah.
why do we take, not credit cards.
Yeah.
Not that I ever offended the business, because I do.
Are the machines free?
Usually the people that'll give you what they charge you, they'll give you the machines for free,
Okay.
as long as you're not in contract with them.
Can we talk to Riverside Bakery? No, I'm just kidding.
Deb, did you have a comment on that, or?
No, I thought somebody called me in.
There's the different credit card companies that you use will give you the machine.
Yeah, they charge a different fees
with
accordingly,
it.
right?
It's part of their package. But there's so many out there.
It's a super pain in the ass.
Well, I always use a
Nope,
debit
we're
card.
good.
I don't normally carry cash on me.
You allowing
Why don't we take credit
Credit
cards
cards.
for deposits?
for deposits and all the other stuff?
We only have deposits or rental fees, and that's, and that, the amount of money that we bring in isn't worth the cost.
Joe Q Public wants you a credit card, you charge them the 2.5%, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as they know you
Well,
charge
no,
them
but
the
the
2.5%.
cost that's involved with it, to implement it and to add it in, isn't worth the amount of money that we take in.
It's not about taking additional money in, it's about making it easier for Joe Q Public to pay their fees.
We don't have anybody complaining or asking for it, so when we looked into it before, the cost was more than we were willing to spend.
Like they do now, people knock on my door all the time, they don't want to charge me for equipment, they want to give me the equipment, and they tell you what the charges are up front.
See, we just redid our,
It's not something that we've had a request for, so I don't know.
I understand that, but as a trustee, I think it's something we should allow our constituents to do, we should charge them.
well, we'll look
I don't
into
know.
it. Put that down on the.
Look into it, research it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I thought you didn't because of that.
So we've just been going through 10 with proposed agenda items for
Exactly. Sorry.
next monthly board meeting. Are there any other topics that we want to talk about next month?
Sorry, Gary, I'm just,
No, you're good. No issue. Number 11, supervisor report. Any questions there? And if there are no questions, we'll move on to the assessor's report.
You mind if I go up there?
Go right ahead. Thank you.
That's the big crowd.
just felt
And the
bad.
microphone. This
Sound it?
This is on. This is on. I'm gonna turn it on, I guess. On the bottom or?
No, it's in right at the top.
There we go. Is that on now? Oh, there we go. Yeah, microphones are good.
Yeah.
Okay. One, I want to thank you for reading the report. A lot of times in the past, a few years ago, nobody read the reports. But anyway, so our 2021 appeals have been completed, and anyone who did file an appeal will be receiving their final notice of decision from the board, typically end of February, early March. And at that point, anyone who's filed, if they're not happy with that decision at the local level, they can appeal to the state. And certainly anyone who has any questions about that process can call my office and we'll help you with that. We do have the first closed sales in the Stonewater subdivision, which is truly amazing how quickly they built those homes. And if you drive down there or drive past there, it's just like little pop-up houses. You know, they're all, but so the first branch with no basement, so $299, $999 or something close to that. And the first two-story home with no basement at $346,990. So these are not, they're a little higher than our typical prices.
Well, there's no basement. It's just amazing. They're slab homes and they're getting these prices.
They're what?
Slab homes. They're built on a slab and they're getting these prices.
Yeah, a lot of them are slabs. Is that what you said, slabs? Yeah, we have over 100 permits, so it's just crazy how quickly they're putting them up. But they're basically a cookie cutter subdivision with a certain number of models, and they're not making a lot of adjustments or custom kind of stuff there. But I would suggest if you have time to go take a look. But it's going to be interesting to see how those take off, because they're not on the lower end of homes, for sure. We are still at this point doing any assistance for anyone by appointment. We do use the safe room, and we don't have a lot of calls coming in right now, but if we, actually, beginning of the year, we usually start getting senior freeze applications and questions about that. And we do generally have a lot of assistance with that, but at this point, it's still by appointment. We are still doing Facebook Live, which is lots of fun. Actually, I have people watching. On my minutes here, on my report, I say 3 o'clock. We have changed that to 3:30 based on our, the person who runs our Facebook has had to change that time. But I can tell you that we've actually had people come in and bring their parents in for exemptions because they heard about it on watching Facebook. So we don't have a newsletter anymore where people used to get a lot of the information, so it's just a way to try to get things out there. And it's working, even if you get a few people here and there. I guess the biggest part of what I have to tell you is that I do have openings in the office, and I am looking to hire at least 2 positions in the office. So if you know of anyone who's looking for a job and interested, please send them my way. I have found that it's helpful to have a personal recommendation, people we know, to at least start that way before we put it out all over the place in anything like Indeed, which is where I got my last 2 employees, and that worked out great. But I think that we all know a lot of people, and we'll put it on the website too. I'll have Debbie do that tomorrow.
What's starting salary?
What is what?
Starting salary or pay per hour for full-time?
Now that's a good question. So, because actually that's part of why I wanted to come up here and talk to you, because
I figured that out, Gary.
Are you looking for a job?
No, but I might know someone that does.
well, I'm sure you're well aware everybody's having trouble getting anyone, and so I'm going to back up a little bit. I have one of my deputy assessors is leaving at the end of this month, and the reason he's leaving is for more money. And there's a couple other townships that are going to be hiring in the assessment office, so it's going to be a tough find. A deputy assessor, at this point, if I can find someone who's already certified, that's helpful. I don't have to send them to training. But that person's going to want decent salary. And what I've been doing is contacting other townships and getting their salary breakdown, and honest, it's just crazy, but we're really low. So please, I hope my staff stays. It truly is, we're really at the low end, and everyone who's looking to hire is kicking up their rates. I'd have to kick it up pretty good to even compete with some of these other townships right here in this county. Lake County, Kane County, you're going to get even higher. So when you have people that are qualified, it's going to be interesting. I will tell you, I've been told by some other assessors who are hiring, they're basically, what do you need to get to come here? And most places give it the insurance and the whole package, the whole compensation package. So that's not unusual. It's the hourly, which my chief deputy is making still a little bit less than a lot of the chief deputies in townships now. And the deputy that's leaving is probably getting about a $5 an hour increase. I tried to get him to stay. But so again, and part of that is for the last couple of years even, I've needed to hire at least one more field person. So I'm looking for a deputy assessor and a field inspector, someone who the field is more of a starting entry level, but those are the people that go to homes, measure the property, take pictures, talk to the people. And, draw the sketch of the property. A lot involved in that, but certainly trainable. You know, it's not, you don't have to really know anything, we can teach you. Even that's going to be difficult, because again, a couple of years ago when I started paying people $15 an hour, the previous board had heart attacks. And and I had people apply, but I didn't have tons. So back to your question, John. I'm looking at least, I don't know that I want to just broadcast this right now, but probably somewhere between $16 and $18 an hour starting.
And how will that affect the people already working for you that are below that wage?
They will get a raise.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way I can hire new people.
I understand, I'm just,
For sure, and that's, did you read my notes before I got here?
no idea.
No, but exactly. I mean, I feel like I'm quite honestly, I'm very proud of my staff. I'm very lucky. I have a really good staff. We get a lot of work done for the number of people we have, and certainly in order to keep them, I'm gonna need to pay them more and should. When I'm paying entry-level people more than they're making.
Price of everything's going up, it ain't going
Yeah,
down.
they'll be, so just kind of letting you know that that's
So is that
coming.
gonna be in our packet when you give us your budget?
Correct, that's kind of, I'm going to, I'm collecting.
I'm on your side, Mary, I'm just, make sure you put that on your board pack when you present.
Okay.
He wanted the details a week ago.
Right.
That's what?
He wanted the details a week ago.
Well, and then.
I mean, we can see it's coming, it's pretty
The
obvious.
freight train's upon us.
Yeah, we know it's here, it's just how hard is it gonna hit us?
Well, as much as, and I appreciate that, I'm glad you guys are aware of that, and part of the reason these meetings, I think the public needs to be aware. And if they're listening to this, or go back and listen, or it'll be in the minutes, or at least we're not trying to hide this. This has been,
Correct.
I would have hired somebody, the person I lost about a year and a half ago, I would have hired someone else, but because of budget, our budgets kept getting cut. Craig and I were working on trying to keep who we had, so we didn't do that. So anyway, to your point, yes, we will be competitive as we can, and the current staff would kick up, and that would be reflected in the budget that I will be giving to Gary by the end of this month. So, and that will, again, just to let you know, all the information I'm collecting on salaries, I'm going to share with you. I don't have it complete yet, but I will show you that I'm not making things up. Those are coming from the other assessors.
Mary, what are the other places what are they paying in comparison?
That's what you're
Like
saying.
Dundee, or are they a lot more than what we have?
I'm sorry, I really can't hear you standing here, but just, what do they pay?
In comparison to what we're paying our workers for the same job, what are other townships paying?
On average, we're looking at about $3 to $6 off.
An hour?
We're low, $3 to $6, depending on the position.
Okay.
I'm not excited about that, but it is what it is.
Mary, how much liberty do you have to set the salaries, and how much it has to be approved by the board?
So the budget I will submit will be based on what I am going to be able to hire people at. They don't have to give me that money, but hopefully it will, I'm going to try to be reasonable and make sure that I can get the money to provide that staff, but they have to approve the budget.
Okay, but as far as any position per se,
That's what we have.
do you have liberty within your budget to
Previous board really
independently
burned.
determine how much you're going to pay for a person's position?
So typically what happens is I determine what the hourly wage will be for the staff, including incoming, and that becomes my request for my salary budget. So I base it on what I need with for their hourly. They also need, not all employees get insurance. They're all offered it, but not everybody takes it. The other fees that go into it. So certainly the biggest part of my budget is staff.
So
I don't know if I answered that
the
question.
way I understand the statute is, she is her own department, yet her budget is approved through, this board. So she could design her department from a wage perspective, and the people that she hires and fires, that is her ultimate decision. The board doesn't hire or fire, and I don't hire and fire in her department, that's all hers. So she has some autonomy in her budget to, I would think that, you know, depending if somebody left halfway through the year, if there's funds in her budget and she needs to try to retain people, she could use those monies in retention to retain somebody.
So actually, the statute says they're supposed to give me the money I need to run my office.
Yeah.
Typically, but they,
No,
but that's,
We're not debating, we're not debating. I remember last year's order.
and again, I mean, the reason for the budget hearings is to say, why do you need that much money, or
Correct.
see why you're asking for that. If it's unreasonable, the board can say, no, we're not giving you $1,000 for a trip to Mexico or whatever. They can ask those questions, and usually they do. So
There's no membership to the McHenry Country Club when you
yeah,
sign on
membership.
like
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah.
Good idea.
If I may make a comment, going into ancient history, in 1967, I was getting paid $2.20 an hour as a stock boy. At the same time, a decent subdivision house cost $25,000, and a gallon of gas costs 33 cents. You know, all of those numbers are 10 times that now, just almost exactly. So what would be 10 times $2.20?
$22.
Right, as a stock boy.
Right. I mean, it's
Wages have not gone up proportionately, so
No.
I have no problem with paying people proportionately.
right. And even though, I mean, again, my concern is being competitive to get the good people that I need to do the job, and employees are driving the market, because that's what's going to happen. But to your point, yes, and since there are several other townships right in this county that are looking for people, I really do have to be competitive. So I will let you know as soon as those numbers are fixed. A little bit different topic on pay, just because I can. Because I had a conversation, I talked to Mark, before Christmas, and he wasn't unaware, at least at that time, that the assessor's salary was cut, like the supervisor and the road commissioner. And again, that it was cut that way, and no health benefits. And after I picked him up off the floor, he said, what? Anyway, the next
You can't have a
time,
raise, Mary.
that what?
No, you can't have a raise just yet.
No, I'm not, no, this is
I'm
not.
not making fun of it.
No,
It's
I'm not,
not-
I'm not, it's a very serious
Yes,
topic.
it is. Yes, it is.
And
Sad.
again, that's another salary grid you're gonna see, what the salaries of the assessors are in other townships. McHenry Township is the second largest township in McHenry County. And as you know, we're growing. And Michelle, I'm gonna go over some of this stuff, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but my key here is, in about 3 years, this board's gonna have to determine the salaries for the next election. So 6 to 7 months before the election, this board has to determine what the salaries are, what the compensation packet is. I respectfully would ask that you start to think about that now, and do whatever it is to understand what these positions are. I know nothing about what the supervisor is doing, very little, or the road commissioner.
He is doing very well.
And quite honestly, again, and many of you might not know this, the assessor is the only position that has any kind of requirement in order to be the assessor. that the certification required to do the job is training, and it's continuing ed, and a lot of knowledge. So not just anybody can be the assessor anyway. So again, I think that my request is that you start looking into that, or understanding what the job entails, so that for whatever position, and I can only speak about the assessor position, but that what's required to do that job. Some might mean coming and spending a day in the office, or at least a few hours, or asking me questions. But there's so much that goes on there, and I think that in most cases, and again, I'm not comparing you to the previous board. I believe that you all care about this township, and but that it's something to consider now, to start thinking about, because even now, what salaries are and what they'll be 3 years from now, and they're set for 4 years at a time. So I'm happy to meet with any of you in person, on the phone, whatever. I will tell you that, quite honestly, this is when I did choose to run for this position, but I ran for a part-time job. And so I'm not here 40 hours a week. It's not a part-time job, and you know, the work will get done, and but I have to do other things because of being now in a part-time job. And again, I did run for that, I understand that, but I want you to understand that that's the position that the previous board put our township in.
Mary, I think everybody knows exactly what the last board did and why they did it. Had nothing to do with what that job should pay. That job should pay what it was paying before. So, same with the road commissioner. That's not something that anybody can just walk in and do. They did it deliberately, that nobody, cutting the pay so much, nobody would want the job, and it would help destroy the township. That's their main reason for doing it. Is that anything to do with budget or anything else? It was to destroy this township.
I understand that. I'm just, again, I'm not going to wait till the meeting that you have to decide on this to say, you really need, and again, that just to really investigate it, to understand what's going on. It's the assessments that are set are important to not only the township, but to every taxing body in the township. So that's all. I just wanted to throw that out now, and certainly
Mary, I assure you, if there was a way we could reinstate it, we would.
No.
I just let you know, we just legally know we cannot.
I know that. That's not my intention.
Yeah, no,
I understand.
I don't disagree.
We're behind you.
That's okay.
Well, I get that. I understand that. But it doesn't, this isn't really about me. It's about the position and who will be here in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or whenever, because just like the levy, sometimes it's hard to catch up, especially when people are going other places. So my goal, as I think yours is to have the best people here working for the township, or at least to give them the option. You know, if in this last election, nobody, you know, I was unopposed, and effectively they killed any desire for anyone to run. They now sit 3 years ahead. You know, so it truly is about the position. It's not about me, because I'm not going to be here forever, and it just has to be an appropriate thing for all the positions and whatever that is. And I'm happy to spend any time with you, answer any questions, or make sure you know, understand what we do, so that you can make that judgment. And I have every faith that you will. I just want to make sure, like I said, I'm just bringing it out now because it's not about me. And
It's about the position, we understand that.
okay.
There's no doubt in my mind that I should be paid more.
So other than that, that's my speech. And any questions you have for me on anything, stormwater, Oh, it's not just stormwater,
Yeah, it's,
We have Running Brook, we have Pioneer Oaks, we have Glacial Trails up in Ringwood, we have several apartment complexes that are being built behind Aldi. We have the old mill that we've built. Something's going to be built with a roller rink. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. We've got in front of the old Big R, that's going to be, a couple of buildings going up there. So there's a lot going on here, and a lot to keep up with. So anyway,
one last question, did those assessments automatically fall in place once the property sells? I mean, a tax bill set at that price, or does an assessor have to go in there, or someone from the assessor's office have to go in and physically look at the facility? Tell me right what the tax dollars are for that particular unit.
Okay, so typically for commercial stuff, I mean, we go in and we make sure it's completed. If it's something like the senior facility over there by Meyer, I'm not sure I have to find out exactly how their income is, because there are specific laws for different types of housing, senior housing, low-income housing, things like that. Apartments, it's kind of an incremental thing. The land will typically change, like where Aldi, behind Aldi there, that was farmland. Well, that'll be coming out. That land will be not valued as farm anymore for 2022. And then as they add buildings, and with new construction, we can add it when it's being used. So,
my question relates more to, not necessarily commercial, but let's say I just bought this house for $250,000. It's a brand new house. Is it automatically assessed a certain dollar amount?
No. We are not allowed to chase sales.
Brand new, like the subdivision you're talking about.
Right, so
$350,000, whatever.
So take Stonewater. So by the time we turn in our books, I'm anticipating we're going to have a lot of homes that have sold. We have to do what we do with any subdivision. We look at an average. The 2 stories. What are they selling for? They're all whatever the square footage, baths, garages, things like that, and stratify them and average them out basically. So that we have to base it on the sales, and for new construction, what's going to happen in that subdivision is going to be really important. They will be, the 2 that already closed at the end of 2021 will be on as full value, and anything that is completed during 2022 we'll put on when it's completed. For an example, and I'm going to go back to a commercial one.
Yeah.
Thornton's. So Thornton's started building in, they had the land, but they started building in June or something like that. And they were open on November 5th. We figured out what our value was going to be if it had been on a full year and added value from November 5th to the end of the year. And next year will be a full year. So new construction, we put on occupancy once it's a prorated value.
Or is it automatically taxed, is my question. Does someone from the office have to physically go to all these locations and approve the tax?
Oh yeah, we visit.
So if they build 200 homes and someone from the office has to go to every one of those homes to get on the tax roll?
Yes. So again, we've already been out there for a lot of it. We know where the foundations are.
Right.
We know what the models are. They don't have to measure every building, because if it's Model A, we have the model.
Okay.
We know it's Model A and what it is. But we do need pictures of these properties, and that's when they're completed. Usually, all the siding, and usually when there's an occupancy. Then they go and we talk to the owner. And if there aren't many basements out there in Stonewater, but if there are, the question is your basement finished? We wouldn't know that until...
You might not ever know.
Might not ever know that. But we get our final connection with them when it's occupied. But we try not to, especially now, we don't have time to go to them, to each and every one. They'll drive through that subdivision, and the staff there is very helpful. They have the plat with I know they've told them, these are gonna be basements, these are gonna be slabs, whatever. And because right now what's out there in stormwater is pretty much cookie cutter stuff,
Right.
it's gonna be easier, but I believe they have intentions to do more custom and maybe some different builders and things like that. But to answer your question, yes, we go out, Thornton's, they all went out there, they measure things. I mean, we value asphalt. We you know, how much parking lot do you have? So they have to go out there and measure it, because no matter what the permit says or what their plans say, they don't always match. So we do go out, and then we have to put a value on it, and that's
Sounds like one hell of a project.
so.
Hard project.
There's what?
It's a hard project to complete, that's why I'm asking the question. I can't imagine how many people you need to really go out there and do that the right way.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, commercial is a little different than, like, the whole Jessup plant, that
Right.
all three of my two field and my commercial deputy who's leaving went out there, and they walked and, you know, had a tour of the whole building. I mean, the more information we have, the better we can value it. And then, you know, especially when it's new, that's the best time to get in there. And so that's why a lot of this new construction is going to take a lot of time. On top of that, we do have sales, we have permits, we have fires, things like that we have to go out on. So it's continual.
How many hours do you think you spend on a particular home?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you come into the office, I'll show you one of the...
Just if you have just ask. I'll be quiet.
So you will see, and
I'm
really
here to
come
try to
in.
get you people, that's why I'm asking you these questions.
No, I don't mind answering your question. I'm just, there is no typical thing. You know, we might not touch, once a new home is, we may not do anything with it until we see a permit. It could be 10 years down the road and they're adding a garage. Okay. We're supposed to update our records. You know, you're not supposed to wait 50 years to go back out there, but with all that we've got going on, you know, permits we might go out there for. It's just hard to say, but what we do, and we keep track of every time we're out there, and you can look at the front of a folder and it says the date, what happened, who was out there, and sometimes it's 3 or 4 people in a couple month period that we're touching it, and sometimes we have to put it aside and go back to it the next year. So I don't have a standard answer for you. Some homes sell 2 or 3 times in a year, a couple times, at least recently. You know, they buy it as a foreclosure and then they sell it again, and then we have to go back out there again because now it's all different. It's a really easy job.
Sounds like it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, there's just a lot to do. And the bottom line is to make sure we have the right information so that we know that the value we're putting on there is correct. And that we have the right information. If they don't agree with us, then we can at least say, well, this is what we have. We have you down with 3 bathrooms. And they might say, well, we only have 2. Well, let's find out. So a lot of stuff going on there. But really, come on in. I would say make an appointment so you make sure I'm there. And happy to show you through the office and kind of the system that we have and all that goes on, and answer any questions you have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So one thing that I want to do is just step back for a minute to my information, just to let you guys know, we touched on the cost increase and wage increases and things. So as part of general assistance, we've increased our payouts with both GA and EA. So essentially, from like an example would be, the old was, I can go into all the details, but just a rough number is, the old was $800, and we've gone up to assistance of $1,200. So, I mean, rents are going up, milk's going up, everything's gas and electric's going up. I guess we've had several calls with the new rate increase from those folks, and some of the elderly folks are not able to pay their bills. So we're doing our best to keep people in their homes and keep them warm and fed.
The county programs are still in effect, right, Deb?
Pardon me?
The county programs are still in effect to help the people?
That's only if it's COVID related.
Okay.
Moving on, I guess, Highway Commissioner's report. Yeah, okay. I do not see a need for executive session this evening. Any board member comments? I'll start on my,
I'm not a board member, but I have come.
what's coming?
Did you guys decide on when you want to start your budget workshop?
Oh. Getting away.
Never.
Okay, so there's
I
this.
just don't know if I missed it or not, but I need to put it on my
No, that's a good
calendar.
point, it's a good point, Deb.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that we need to do is talk about our the minimum of our first meeting, so that we can go through the
Right, so we
procedures.
can get something out ahead to the, I would like to get something out ahead
Correct.
to them.
So looking at a
Before we even
calendar,
have that meeting.
correct, looking at a calendar. So we are at, what's today? Today is the
Today is
the 13th. So, you know, obviously there's 2 weeks left in this month, and then we move into February. So I'm open in the evenings. It's very difficult for me to get here during the day. So I would prefer, you know, that they be in the evening so I can attend. I guess pick a date.
I'm pretty much open.
Do we want to do them on Thursdays?
Thursday works.
Thursday the 27th for the first one?
January?
Yes.
Okay, so my
Yours
budget,
won't
Yeah,
be
yeah,
done.
yeah, right.
No,
Yeah,
this
we
first, no, we understand that yours won't be in until, what the board is wanting to do is sit down and understand
gotcha.
the process. And kind of walk through the different line items and get definitions and things of those. So they have an idea that when the numbers are all backfilled, we can move through it a little bit quicker.
Yep.
So the 27th,
I'm just not used to the board moving so quickly. Are you talking January or February?
January 27th.
January, okay.
January 27th at 5:30. We'll schedule 2 hours if we need it. If we need more, we'll go more.
5:30 work for everybody?
That's how I wanted to spend my birthday week, but okay.
Birthday week?
My birthday's the 26th.
So maybe we can bring alcohol to the meeting?
Yeah, well, we didn't get an invite.
I can't drink.
We didn't get
You had your last
Okay,
meeting
so
on my birthday.
our
Might
next,
as well be, right?
so you can plan our next board, or our next budget meeting, or our first budget meeting as a whole will be January 27th at 5:30 here. And we're gonna mainly talk about process, the process in which we'll go through it, and definitions and any questions, kind of with the structure that go with the budget today.
And I take it trustee Bendenagle is going to bring birthday cake for everybody. There you go.
There we go.
And ice cream.
Those things I can't eat, thank you.
And then, so you want me to have what I have in process?
Correct, what you have in
Send
process.
out to them how many days prior to that meeting?
2 days prior, the 25th?
What do you, how much time do you need?
Pardon me?
How much time do you need?
Whatever you guys need, I
Oh,
will make sure it
okay.
gets done. I'm
Two-
not gonna have all the numbers yet,
Sure.
anyway, so,
2 days before, on the 25th.
okay. On the proposed agenda items, do you have the Xcal contract on there
No, I do not.
that expires
We need a lot more
in
information.
February? So
Correct.
it expires before the new budget
Correct.
Which is always the case, because you don't want to have that gap when there's an election year.
So for the next meeting,
So
under
next board meeting, we will have the
Ex-Cal review.
contract,
When are the health insurance contracts up?
June. And I'm saying that wrong right now.
Well, I don't know if that's something we need to consider in the budget, that's all.
Well, we already got the numbers for the new budget, so it must have happened in June, even though our actual policy ends in December. There's an overlap with the health insurance and the way it all, it's a weird setup.
You'll be at the budget meeting, correct?
Pardon me?
You'll be at the budget meeting, correct?
Yes. I will have all those dates and everything, but that's already in the budget, we already got that information.
So at what point do we review the upcoming insurance for all the employees? And
Pardon me?
at what point do we review the upcoming
That
policies?
happened in, right, so for the new year that just started January, I want to say that, I don't know why I want to say.
We're researching, I don't
I
even
want to say it
know.
happened in September, but
Are you
I want to
asking
say
about
Bobby
shopping
Anderson.
suppliers?
Yes, shopping.
That's not gonna happen in this budget cycle.
Isn't, like, when I get my budget numbers starting for April,
Right.
that Flo already takes into consideration what
Right,
the
because
change
we're already
is.
getting the numbers, same with like the
Considers like
iron
the
rock and
next
everything,
Right.
that all changes. We just got all the new state rates and everything too. But I will, when the renewal comes up for the insurance, Flo, one of the trustees and the supervisor will meet with the representatives. And I want to say that's done, I want to say that Bobby Anderson did it the last time.
Well, I mean, is that something we bid out, or we,
Pardon me?
is that something that we definitely go through Tormer through, or separate?
So.
No, the health insurance is totally separate from Torma.
Okay, that's what I
Torma
thought.
is different. And Torma renews in June, we should have that detailed information.
That's a given number, we don't deal with Tormer insurance, that's something that's there. But as far as health insurance for the employees, when do we get to a point where we pick which insurance company, or how are we gonna insure
Right,
the
because
employee?
all right, also, yes, I will explain all that at the budget.
Okay,
Let me explain all that at the budget.
okay, that's fine,
otherwise-
it's just some questions I know there want
Right.
answers to, you know.
Right. As a government agency, we're limited to certain insurance policies
Correct.
too. That's another issue.
Are there any other contracts we need to talk about? that the
The
township
only
has?
contract the township has. We don't have any. Like,
We don't have an office supply contract, if that's like negotiating. that.
Right,
yeah, we have no other contracts.
I just don't want to,
There's-
Make sure we
there's no
discuss it,
need
that's
for
all.
Yeah, there's no need for it.
Okay. So ex-cal, budget date,
That just needs to be on the agenda
Yep.
for next month so that we can get that straight away.
are there any other companies that supply the same thing as Cal does that we should be talking to?
We are,
We'll
no,
show
we've
that to
already
you.
done all that
Okay.
research.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just love it.
That research started in November and we just finished it all up yesterday.
you realize that the training we were scheduled for, a few of us, has been moved to March
That was the next
24th.
thing.
What?
No,
March 24th, so that's been moved.
just
I
need to
can't
find
tell
out who
until
wants
I-
to reschedule for the 24th.
Yep. And then, general assistance training is in May 6th. That's for me, so I'll be going to that.
Now, if you hire a part-timer to help them, would you do that? Would it help if they went to that same training, or is that strictly for the supervisor?
Pardon me?
If
For anybody
you're
who's
talking
involved
about
in
hiring a
GA.
part-timer or a full-timer to work with you on general assistance, is that a training that that person should go to as well?
Of course.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
Anybody who would do general assistance should go to that training.
That's why I'm asking the question. I think if we hire someone, we should make sure they go with Gary to the training.
Which means they should be hired.
I don't know.
I'm trying to see if you could try to hire someone before that. I think it'd be a good idea.
Is the timing of being hired and training on May at going to training on May 6th
If
conducive
we
of each
hire
other?
somebody,
Probably not.
regardless of when we hire them, whenever a training comes up, they're going,
Okay, well, just,
bottom line. I'm required to have 8 hours every year,
right.
which is nothing, but anybody who's new should definitely go to the 2-day training.
That's all I'm saying. is
The one
board
that's
member
coming
thinks
up in
it's
May is only the 1-day training,
Yep,
because TOI is
correct.
shorthanded, I guess, or something.
No, you bring up, we laugh and scratch.
Well, no,
about
but yeah,
these
we're just
things.
saying, but it's gotta be
But
done.
I'm gonna talk about what Mary talked about. This isn't a part-time job.
Yeah, it is.
Right,
No, it's not.
right.
They're completely, and I'll just leave it at that. We laugh and scratch about it all the time.
Nobody said it was a part-time job except the previous board.
Correct.
Right.
It's because they don't have a clue as to what
They don't.
got done.
They didn't care.
I'm
No,
not sure they do now.
no, they have a mission
At least
and
the
a
board
mission.
now does care.
So, no other comments from the board? Then I would take a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Oh, wow, that was easy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay? The ayes have it.
I just got it.
Thank you very much.
Danielle, you might want to change your, thank you all.
Thank you.
Jerry, are you on a mission?
Can't hear you.
Pardon? Are you on a mission?
Yeah, I'll be right here in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I just given it to you
Yeah, no, it's
after.
fine.
I didn't want to.
It's fine. Thank you.
Next one.
Your meeting on there is